Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the JCP End Zone Perspective podcast. Here I am joined by my lovely co-host and a unfamiliar face down at the bottom while we're in victory formation right here. Well, bringing in a special guest, our friend Noah, big Bills fan over here, so he's pretty excited to talk about the last game that happened.
Yeah, worst quarterback in the NFL,
But introducing my regular, as always, Cole from the JCP. How are you doing, Cole?
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is late ass o'clock, and we are ready to talk about some NFL.
Yeah, and a lot of news has dropped today. Like a lot of news, surprisingly, has dropped today. So first, we're going to kick it off with the NFL news, and then we're going to go to the games of the week. And then instead of doing the good and bad of the Mez, I know we're going to miss it for the rest of the season and the off season. But we're going to go into who we think is going to destroy fantasy teams next season. We're going to pick a player or maybe even a rookie coming into this draft that could be like, we think this guy is going to tear it up in fantasy. And then we're going to end it off with our last segment. We're going to predict the playoffs, all three of us, even special guest nobody back down there.
Wow, that's crazy.
All right.
Look at the hospitality Jacob gives.
I'm never coming on this podcast again.
But all right, we are glad to have you here. But before we start, I have to give a shout out to my Michigan Wolverines for winning the national championship against Washington. Go Blue, baby!
Congratulations.
I want to say it on the podcast. All right, absolutely. Who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
All right, I just had to hear it. All right, going into the NFL news though, and we're already talking about college, so let's talk about maybe the biggest news happened in quite a long time. Nick Saban has retired after 28 years of being a head coach. Man, college football will never feel the same.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll throw my opinion. First, I'd like to thank you guys for having me on this podcast. Really appreciate it. Happy to be here. Yeah, that's crazy. I honestly thought that he would at least retire with a championship first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very, very crazy. I think this is just a testament to, you've been doing it for this long, get out while the getting's good, I guess. So
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. What a historic career. I think it'll be very hard to see anybody get away with 7. So
seven natties, exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
6
natties.
6. But either way, still.
Does that really even matter?
Yeah, right.
6, 7. It's crazy.
I mean, let's be exact. We're professional here.
Cole.
To me, I just see it hard as anybody trying to compete with that for the foreseeable future. And I wish him well. But as Cole knows, recently joining the SEC fan base, good to see him go. So let the reign of the Tigers begin.
Yes, sir.
Cole, you are easily the biggest college nut job out of the three of us. So, I mean, I'm being clear. You are the biggest.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
So, what is your sort of opinion on this? Where do you how do you see this information? How did you process this when you first got that ESPN notification?
Well, a funny story. I came out of I pray the rosary on Twitter at 4:00, and there's a space. So I came out of that space, and I'm scrolling through Twitter after it, and I see Nick Saban retire, and I'm like, what? I was in a shock. I had no idea. Because, for years, I kept hearing the same thing, like, "Oh, this could be Nick's last year. This could be Nick's last year," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's not gonna be his last year. Come on, the guy's like, he's never gonna retire. He'll die as the Bama head coach." I mean, that's what I thought, and
Right.
to see this, what a weird, like, it does not
Yeah.
feel real. It is not set in. Um, but look, as an LSU fan, it's a love-hate thing, right? I love what he did for LSU. We were in the dumps before he came to Baton Rouge, so when he did, he really brought us back up to a prominent level. So for that, respect to Nick Saban for that. He won us a natty, and then he broke our heart and went to Alabama. But that's another story for another time.
Man.
So, I think what he did was scummy, but hey, you got to make your living somehow. And congratulations on the career. May God bless him on his retirement. But he's gone. So he's gone.
Let their tiger reign.
Yeah, LSU's reigning in the SEC from now on. So goodbye,
go
Nick
Tigers.
Saban. Go Tigers.
And
Yes.
I'm only gonna be a little petty Michigan fan saying that his last game was being beat by the Michigan Wolverines. But I will give
We'll let
him
take that notch on his belt this time, Cole. But
yeah.
I'll give it cheers to Nick Saban and his amazing 28-year career. So cheers, Nick Saban. And this is a starry.
Sorry, guys. He's not allowed to drink alcohol.
Not yet.
Yeah. Congratulations, Nick Saban. Going on to actual NFL news. Time to talk about pretty heartbreaking news if you're a longtime Seahawks fan. Pete Carroll is moving away. This is really strange news because it wasn't saying like, oh, he got fired or released. He's moving down from a head coach to a team advisor for the Seattle Seahawks.
Never heard of that.
Right.
Yeah, I cannot. I cannot be able to describe to you what a team advisor is or what they do at all.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows that.
But during the little press conference where he was talking about it, it was like, he started to tear up a little bit. It was pretty sad. I'm not a huge Seahawks fan, but I can see the stuff that he's done for this team and like what he did to it and the impact that he had on Seattle.
Poured his heart out to Seattle. Yeah.
Right.
I'm getting all the sad stuff out of the way before we talk about,
Wait, who said the first one was sad? I was happy about that.
People are pretty stoked about it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm happy too, but we had to reflect on his career a little bit. So it's a tiny bit sad. It's a tiny bit sad.
Tiny bit sad.
Even though
we only shed 0.4% of a tear.
No, yeah, I want to hear from you, Noah. What do you think of this Pete Carroll stuff going on?
Well, for one, I'll definitely piggyback off of what you said. It's extremely odd, and I don't know if there was maybe some upper management that kind of, I'm not going to say forced him out, but maybe they entertained the idea, right? They brought it up to him, and allowed him, because of his storied career at the Seahawks, allowed him the opportunity to still stay with the team. Because, I mean, Pete Carroll is an NFL guy through and through.
Yeah.
I mean, what other coach do you know of in the NFL that chews gum like that and gets as involved and intense on the sidelines as Pete Carroll? I haven't seen one to date.
No.
And I think he's like one of the most iconic coaches for that. They zoom in on him during the game, and he's in that down position, and he's chewing his gum, and he's watching everything. So, I mean, he, great man off the field too. Did a lot for the community. So I think it's still kind of cool that he's still there. It's just a very weird position for me. So I have a hard time believing that was completely 100% his choice. But I think either way, any role that man steps into, he's going to make the best of it. He's going to give it 100% effort. And I think it'll be nothing but better it'll better the team, because whoever they choose as their head coach now has him in their ear, and he can offer, if it's a newer head coach, maybe their first real head coaching position, he can offer that advice. He has a tenured career, long time in the NFL and also in college. So I think that would really help out a starting out head coach, if you will.
Nick
So
Pete
Saban's new
Carroll
head coach
will be the
way.
best janitor.
Stop, dude.
Pete
I'll
Carroll
never
will be
watch
the best
football again.
janitor. Pete Carroll will be the best janitor at Seattle Seahawks.
Doesn't it feel like that though? Doesn't it almost have like a janitor-esque position? Like it's just weird to me.
Especially when they don't give any information on like
Right.
What is a team advisor?
Yeah,
what is an
just
NFL
go Google
team advisor?
that. Go Google that. What is a team advisor?
Cole, how do you feel about the Pete Carroll moving away from head coach?
Well, you never like to see this kind of thing, but we're coming to a really weird era in terms of football, in terms of the NFL, in terms of college football. I'll stick on NFL. I can see Jacob with his pitchfork over there. Get back on the subject. But
he's a boss man. Let me tell you.
he is.
Oh,
He
yeah.
micromanages.
I roll with mighty fists. Like, 100%.
Speaks
Totally.
softly and carries a big stick. I'll tell you that.
But to me, this move is a little bit baffling. Because I don't know quite where you go or what the idea is. Because Pete Carroll, to me, he's like the best coach available, at least in the NFL terms, because I don't want to spoil the next part of this, so I won't get into that guy, but we'll come to who I'm talking about shortly. But if you look around at all the recent firings and coaches, unless they have like a bag that they're gonna throw at somebody that we don't can't think about, to me, I don't think you're gonna get better than Pete Carroll. And to think about what this guy did, like even recently, he had adversity early on, not too many years ago, when he puts Russell Wilson to Denver, and it's like, oh man, you got Geno Smith and Drew Lock battling for a quarterback position. Surely they're going to be like last in the NFL.
Who thought they would have seen that?
Exactly. And then they make the playoffs, and it's like, oh man. So
this is real.
yeah, I don't know if getting rid of Pete Carroll was a smart move if there was inside involvement, but if this was Pete's move, and all respect to him, what a career, and now he'll, like Noah said, he'll do the best wherever he is now for the staff.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just weird. I can't say fired because he's not fired. He's just at a different position. Going on to Cole. Cole, me and you've been saying this all season.
He's in the shadow.
He's job shadowing right now. Cole, me and you have been saying that this should be happening all season, and I'm pretty sure me and you are happy about it. And I don't know how Noah feels about it yet, but Falcons have fired.
The bad man is gone.
After a 7-10 season, we are happy because
not only a 7-10 season, but a consecutive 7-10 season.
Because I don't know. Years. I don't know if you've been watching the podcast, but me and Cole have been saying the worst things about Arthur Smith because he refuses to use Bijan Robinson the way he should. He refuses to use Kyle Pitts the way he should. He refuses to use Drake London the way he should. It's a complete mess in Atlanta, and we are happy to see Arthur Smith and holding people back, like holding players that have an elite caliber level to them because you don't like fantasy football is the most petty thing.
This one first, by the way.
Yeah, you go ahead, Cole. I know you've been wanting to say this for like the whole season.
Thank you.
So you got Kyle Pitts on your fantasy.
Yes. The first point that I want to bring up is JCP 2 coaches we don't like 0 because we got Brandon Staley fired from the Chargers because we talked about him like all year, and he's finally gone. And then Arthur Smith, he abused Kyle Pitts and John Robinson and all this talent, him or the OC or whoever it was. But man, thank God he's gone.
So you're taking ownership at the JCP podcast for getting these two.
Yeah, we're 2-0, baby. 2-0.
Hey, we have
If
not
only-
talked crap about any other head coach other than these two guys, and they're gone.
If only we added Nick Saban, then he would have retired because of us. But we didn't think that far ahead. But I'm very.
I love this
grateful
man.
for
I
this.
love this man. Preach, brother, preach.
So yeah, but no, in all seriousness though, back to this move, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Atlanta's been in this kind of middle of the road, not great, not awful thing for a while. This
Yeah.
could be a boom or bust. Now I heard people say, get Mike Vrabel, he could be the new head coach. I don't think so. I think you'll be in a similar spot if you do that. And then I've also heard Eric Bieniemy might be the new coach, the OC from Washington. And honestly, I think that's the route you go. He can bring in explosive offense to Atlanta, which is something they have not had in a while.
Maybe get Michael Penix if he moves there in the draft.
Penix, Daniels, never know.
Yeah.
Maybe happen. I'd like to see that happen, but I cannot describe it to you because if you really look at the players on this team, on this offense mainly, this could have been a top 5 offense.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the quarterback situation you have there, but the weapons around the quarterback were whoever it was. There was like 17 different quarterbacks starting for the Falcons.
True.
I'm surprised they didn't get a cafeteria lady.
They started the ball boy for one game.
I'm surprised they didn't get a cafeteria lady from the Falcons.
First
heard
female
that-
NFL quarterback.
They might have wanted the water boy to start too.
Bobby Boucher, quarterback. Mud Dogs.
Get Adam Sandler out there.
Man, but legitimately, this could have been a top 5 offense if it wasn't for the horrible coaching job of Arthur Smith
100%.
because of fantasy football. Oh my god! But that's all we really have to say. We're happy to see him gone, and I would like your if that decision happened where Washington's
Eric
coach
Bieniemy.
did go to Eric Bieniemy went to the Falcons. I would not mind seeing that at all.
They'd have an offense.
They would have an offense. Going to the last news of the day, this took a chunk of our time up. So the Titans. This is completely stupid to me. The Titans have fired Mike Vrabel after a 7-11 season. Or wait, that's not right. That's not the
Snyder's itching for this one, man. Let's get.
Yeah, Snyder, I can tell you're upset. Go ahead.
First of
Oh.
all, this man literally goes on Bussin' with the Boys and tells the entire world that he would chop his own man genitalia off in order to win a Super Bowl. I mean, if that doesn't say dedication, I don't know what does. Secondly, he beats the Jaguars impressively in a game that doesn't mean anything. Like
other than the Jaguars not being in the playoffs, and they got him out.
And they got him out. And I mean, that should have spoke volumes by itself, in my opinion. I mean, for a guy to sit there and play a game and coach a game that doesn't mean anything as far as his own team standing, and then is able to remove a team from the playoffs, it makes no sense. I don't think Vrabel is the reason why they had the season that they did. I attribute a lot of this to the talent on the team. Other than Derrick Henry and a few other players, I mean, who did he have? as
That's
far
a fair
as
point.
superstar players, and even Derrick Henry is getting older. He's not as explosive as he used to be. I mean, in that game, he was tearing them up, but all season he's been struggling. So to me, it's like, what are you? What? Why?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
for
understand
real?
it either. Because if you
So
really look at this offense, it's like, who's a top 10 guy at least? Will
that's
Levis
what
has a
I'm
really
saying.
explosive start as a starting quarterback, but you can't rely on a starting quarterback to bring that team over. And
That's what I mean.
yeah, D Hop, he came over and like he's done moderately successful for them, but not
I
the way
mean, but
you want
even
to see D
as
Hop go.
even like if we're talking about D Hop, the standard is already set so high, and for him to get to the level that he was even achieved this year was pretty subpar in my opinion. But
Right.
No point.
I just don't understand. I don't see how you can put the blame on Mike Vrabel on this one. I just don't.
I don't understand it
See,
either.
okay, I'll go next on this because I have a little bit of a different view here. Not.
Oh boy,
Oh no.
Oh my god.
here we go.
It's always
So
a Raider fan.
yeah, just wrecking everything.
Here
Uh,
is the Raiders fan.
But my opinion about this whole thing is Tennessee as a whole had a question to answer. And if you look at Vrabel, like this was a guy who would have been perfect 10 years ago. When it was game managing quarterbacks, you could rely on a running back to carry a game and good defense. He would have been the perfect coach in my opinion because that was Tennessee. And that's why they would make it to playoffs. They'd even get a bye occasionally, and they wouldn't do anything with it. So I think this move is a little bit, nicer in a sense than what you guys are thinking. Now, personally, I wouldn't have fired Vrabel at this point. I would have given him one more year. I'd have said, look, any OC that you want, we'll pay money, we'll bring him in, we'll see what you got, and then evaluate. But I blame more the offensive coordinator for this than Mike Vrabel, but I really am not the hugest Vrabel fan. I don't hate him, but I don't think he's all that everybody says he is. That's kind of where I stand with this whole thing.
So you don't think him getting, like, let's say, let's just play the hypothetical game for a second. You don't think that if he goes to like New England or something like that, that he's going to make that big of a?
Oh, oh no!
Man, okay. I did not. I had no idea.
What was that?
Technical
Freaking
difficulties
bro.
here. Continue your point though.
So what I was saying, what I was asking Cole, so you don't think that if he goes to a team like New England that he would make that big of a difference?
Well, what I'm saying is I think defensively New England would improve. But as a head coach leading an offense, we've never seen a prolific offense under Vrabel at Tennessee. Now, yes, you could argue that the players weren't in place. Ryan Tannehill was at the quarterback position, which, like, I get it. Like, he was okay. He wasn't special. But I don't know. Like, I can't answer as a whole about what he would bring because to me, we've never seen it. He's never really had the talent group to show an offense, but he's also never had the OC to develop and utilize the players in a good way. So I'm unsure about how he would do at New England. I do know that the defense would improve, maybe even be better. So that's as best as I can answer at this time.
Okay, so what you're saying in the gist of it is like it's just we haven't seen much of Vrabel to be getting this much praise because he hasn't had like a superstar caliber team around him. Is what
Well,
you're basically saying.
Yeah, partially, yes. It's more so like, hey, we know what he can do, like motivation-wise and defensively, but let's see what he can do, running his style of offense, whatever he'd want that to be with an OC that he could gel with, because I don't think he's ever had that.
Okay, I can see where that's coming from now.
I guess
I could get behind it.
understand that. Yeah.
If anything, in my position, this is a blessing for Mike Vrabel. Get out of Tennessee. Get out. I know the cap room is good looking there. Like they're number one with like almost $90 million. But get out of Tennessee. Go to Seattle. They need a head coach now. Go to Atlanta.
Could you imagine him
Dude,
in
Mike
Seattle?
Vrabel with Seattle.
Oh my god. Could you imagine Mike Vrabel in Atlanta in the ATL?
See, again,
Go to Alabama.
that has been teased. You never know.
Hey, weirder things have happened in the NFL.
With Atlanta, again, I'm more hesitant with that, but with Seattle, I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
Or even just real quick, do you guys think that he would? I think he would even be a good defensive coordinator somewhere.
Absolutely.
It's a strange thing to go to see someone go from like OC to a coordinator. Not OC, head coach to like a coordinator. It has happened, but it's stranger to see nowadays, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that is true.
It could happen. I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah. So that is it for the NFL news. We are about to go into week 18. This is the last season, boys. The last season of the last week of the regular season.
Week of the regular season.
Yeah. The last season ever. The NFL shutting down.
Yep. NFL's going away. It's now going to become
JCP will now cover
football.
Will be
JCP
political.
will now cover CFL now, the Canadian football.
And how about those Toronto Rough Riders?
Oh my god! The fact that you know a team.
Hey, I have a Canadian friend. What did you expect?
Oh god! All right, time to go into week 18, boys. I'm gonna miss the regular season. Starting it off with a nothing burger of a game. Ravens lost to the Steelers. No, I could care less, dude. This means nothing. This means. Dude,
I think
no one
everything.
was playing. No one was playing. We're keeping everyone healthy. We already have the first bye week secured in the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally agree with that call. That was I totally understood that call 100%.
With how unlucky we've been in the past with like injuries.
Oh yeah, especially with the quarterback.
They could have this one. I could care less. They're gonna get first rounded anyway.
Yeah.
Little bit of a spoiler.
But yeah, a little bit of a spoiler. But yeah, as you see here, Tyler Huntley didn't do horrible considering how much of a rushing game this kind of was. Tyler Huntley had 15 for 28, 146 yards and 1 touchdown. And then Gus the Bus was pretty much carrying the Baltimore's offense on this team with 10 carries, 48 yards. And then Melvin Gordon, not the production we've been wanting to see from him. So this is not the production we wanted to see from Melvin Gordon III.
Yeah.
On the Pittsburgh side, though, Mason Rudolph kind of been leading this team into the playoff spot, which he did. He did cook, getting 18 for 20, 152 yards and 1 touchdown. Najee Harris, though, oh my God. 26 carries for 112 yards and 1 touchdown.
He's been going off this year, dude.
Yeah.
It's just the Steelers consistently getting a 9-8 or a 10-7 record.
Matt Canada. I had a cough.
Give it up for Matt Canada, boys. He brought this team to the playoffs.
Matt Canada announces new Seattle head coach.
Oh my God. Garbage.
Seattle will riot.
I would too.
Heck yeah.
Overall, I can't really say much about this game other than it's a classic Baltimore-Pittsburgh game.
Yeah, it was a typical rivalry game for sure.
But it meant nothing at all. It meant nothing.
The only thing it meant is that the Steelers are going to pick up an L next week too. So
Yeah.
Stalled it.
Steelers going
We're
to Super
the only
Bowl.
the only thing that this had was that it was going to give you guys it was going to give you guys a little taste, a little appetizer before you get into the big games.
Yeah.
The Bills, I'm saying.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
going into the next game though, the Colts versus the Texans. This game knocked the Colts out of the playoffs. Knocked out of the playoff spot.
Do we really? I mean, I don't want to talk about it.
Snyder, you look upset, Snyder. You want?
It's not that I'm upset, but like, what? Some of these games this past week, like the game plan going into the game, it's like, what was your thought process?
Like
You're talking about a Texans team that hasn't had this kind of talent and this well-rounded coaching in like forever.
Literally since the team started.
Literally since the team was founded, and you decided that you were gonna throw it when Jonathan Taylor was an absolute monster. This is almost like reminiscent of that Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. Like, you got beast mode and we throw the ball.
No.
Like, this is just like, that was just stupid in my opinion. Give the ball to Jonathan Taylor and let him get the first down.
To prove your
point,
get
the first down,
Snyder,
you win the game.
To prove your point, to stat pad your point, he had 30 carries for 188 yards and 1 touchdown. What a monster.
What were they thinking, dude?
And the Colts wanted to trade this man?
They talked about trading him.
This is something that I have been saying for, like, Snyder and actually Jacob was there too, and so, no, Jacob wasn't. J-Man was there, and we were watching the national title game, and it's literally Snyder and I sat there, and we called like every play that was gonna happen. It was amazing.
Literally.
And something I told both of them when they were in the call, I go, one thing I will never understand is modern day offensive coordinators. And this game right here is the prime example of what I mean. They overthink things. They try to get too cute. Listen, you have the...
Sorry, sorry. I got my flu shot today.
You have the best running back on the field in the game out of both teams, best running back, and you take the ball from his hands when he's hot instead of giving it to him, keeping your season alive and going to the playoffs. Like,
you
the
give
Colts
it to
have no
Mustache
one
Minshew.
Exactly.
God.
I mean,
and Goodson should have caught it though. Or was it? Wait, was it Goodson?
Ball?
I thought it was Goodson.
It might. Hold on. Who was it? I think it was Goodson. Or, whoever it was. It doesn't really matter. The point was that was a really upsetting thing for him after the game. If you've seen him after the game, if you want to cry for a while, he said that he wants to call his mom and dad because that's the only people that are not mad at him right now. Which
you gotta catch that. Gotta catch it.
Yeah, but when you look at it, I looked at it secondhand. The ball was kind of iffy.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of away from him and low, wasn't it? It's kind of
It was pretty low. It was like at his shins. It was like he's not going to catch that ball either way.
He's not Julian Edelman, so yeah.
No. CJ Stroud though, coming back after a concussion a couple weeks ago, dude, one of the best rookie quarterback seasons of all time. Getting 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 20 out of 26. Like, he's killing it in Houston.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
to say the least.
And for a team that like had no expectations of being great or even making the playoffs at all, and then him doing this, his first season, is crazy to me to think about.
Against a Colts team that was up until that point pretty hot.
Pretty hot. Yeah, because I remember when why can't I not think of who's the quarterback that they drafted?
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony
Yeah,
Richardson. I cannot think of his name ever. Whenever he went down, I was like, oh man, the Colts season over. And then Gardner Minshew kind of came up and did decently
Kinda
good for him.
kind of left off. We kind of finished where he left off almost.
Right, and then for him to have a lackluster performance like this, especially when this is the game you need it the most.
Yes.
You need this game, and then for this to just turn into this, it's just upsetting. Congratulations to the Texans though, getting your first playoff berth in quite a while. Going on to it's time to get one of my other favorite teams, my hometown team. Nice spot.
Hey, look at that.
Man, you know how long it's been?
When was the last time you could honestly say that you would see a score like that from the Lions?
So long.
All season.
Long.
This season particularly. Man, when I tell you that we are ready for the Rams.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Oh, before we go into this game, have you heard? So this game, it's going to be the first time Matt Stafford will be going into Ford Field again.
Yes,
right? It's going to be the first time he comes back to Ford Field. They're saying that that local fans are saying that they're going to boycott Detroit Matt Stafford jerseys.
Huh?
What? I don't know. As a Detroit Lions person from Michigan, liking the Lions like that, I think it's a slap in the face. I hope he gets a standing ovation when he walks in. I hope the crowd erupts because of what he did in Detroit.
I think your fan base especially owes a lot to Matt Stafford because he was able to put up numbers that he put up at a team that didn't have too much talent around him.
Yeah, all he had was Calvin Johnson.
When they did have, well, I'm not even so much talking about. I think when I say not too much talent, we all know that Calvin Johnson is talented beyond talent. What I'm saying is he didn't have a very good coaching staff. Went through a lot of coaches over his tenure at the Lions, and he was still putting up numbers that were like MVP caliber numbers
on any other team besides
that's a freaking playoff and possible Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So as far as boycotting him, I mean, dude, the guy he's a fantastic player, and he's a very awesome person in general. Like, he carries himself really well. He's just, I don't know. I don't understand that. I just don't understand. I understand, once the game starts.
Obviously, the Lions are going to destroy the Rams. After the clapping stops, I'm like, okay, come on, Lions.
Right. That's what I mean. But why can't you do that? Why can't you just give him that credit for 10 minutes? You know what I mean?
Well, exactly. Snyder, I mean, he didn't win a Super Bowl, so it really doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. We're in the Super Bowl. We're in the Super Bowl era. Sorry,
exactly.
We're in the Super Bowl era now. So
you don't win a Super Bowl, nobody cares.
Exactly.
I don't know. To me, that's kind of a low blow from the Lions fan base. In my opinion.
The only way I would remotely even understand that if he was talking crap about Detroit, maybe the city itself,
which he would never do. Every time someone brings it up, he says how much he loves the city of Detroit and how much he, cherished every memory of that, even though he was that team was buns. Yeah, he does. He's talked about the Lions several times this year, even during the regular season, saying how happy he is to see that the team is doing as well as they are.
Yeah.
He has said it several times this year. I've heard him say it in interviews.
Exactly.
I think the other storyline that you could even talk about in this game is how about Jared Goff having to play that team,
Yeah, that they gave up on, that he sort of gave up on.
Well, gentlemen, let's get to that game.
Let's get to the games.
Let's get to this one. Yeah, I'll start us off here. Nick Mullins, pretty good day. 30 completions out of 44 attempts. He had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Justin Jefferson. There we go.
Jordan.
Not the other one. He was an LSU quarterback, but we'll get into that story another time. We had 12 receptions, 192 yards, and a touchdown. Jordan Addison had the other receiving touchdown, 4 receptions, 457 yards. And then Jared Goff, he had 320 yards, 23 for 32, and 2 touchdowns. Um, I think it's safe to say, like, something that I want to say before we even start, in detail in this game is about, look at Nick Mullins, look at the job that he did being thrown into this offense kind of like a whirling dervish at quarterback, so to speak, so many different faces. And then he comes in and he drops almost 400 yards on a really good Detroit defense. I think that should speak volumes about, and Jacob, we talked about this, earlier on in the year, these backup quarterbacks stepping up to the plate and answering the call when need be.
Yep,
Salute to Nick Mullins on that.
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you. It's this season. I call it the backups season.
Yeah, for real.
Rolls off the tongue.
For real. Because when you look at the list that started the season, and then you look at the list going into week 18, it was like just ridiculous the amount of backups that started this year.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I think
Nick
that
Mullins,
should do good for him trying to argue for a starting spot, or at least
Absolutely.
yeah,
if not number one backup. But I think
Yeah.
he should be considered for the starting position there.
especially if Minnesota doesn't draft a quarterback in this draft coming up.
Right. Which I don't think. I think if the team drafts a quarterback, they're telling you their position. If they don't draft a quarterback, I think that should tell you where they stand with him, in my
Exactly.
opinion.
But also with the quarterback class this deep, like you can still have like they're probably gonna get around like maybe 15th, 20th around
Yeah,
that.
around there.
They can still easily get a pretty high respecting quarterback in this draft class because of how deep this place is.
Yes.
And we'll get
but
into
also,
that like when we talk about the mock drafts as well. But yeah, like Jacob was saying, this is, you got guys like Quinn Ewers and Jordan Travis that
this
are
is the year to
really
draft
good.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I also want to talk about the rushing stats for Detroit too. How David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs have been able to share the ball on the rushing side, which we were kind of scared that they wouldn't be able to do earlier in the week. And now this is the last week of the regular season, and now we're seeing, oh yeah, they've definitely been able to do it. Not as many
They're
yards as
looking
we
for
hoped, but with a heavy passing game like this, it's not going to get many yards. Still, both got one touchdown though.
Yeah.
And Amon-Ra St. Brown, dude, 7 receptions for 144 yards.
Dude's an animal. Complete.
The sun god, Amon-Ra St. Brown, is incredible. And one touchdown too. Getting the 70-yard completion for, it was insane watching him. They took a picture. Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown took a picture after the game of them like holding each other's jerseys up. They swapped jerseys, and they're like, the best wide receiver in the league and Justin Jefferson.
Oh, no.
It was fun jokes. It was fun jokes to see. He does deserve a Pro Bowl vote, if I'm going to be honest. He does deserve to be in the Pro Bowl, if anything else, though.
Who's that, Justin?
No, Amon-Ra. He's not in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was this year. I mean, obviously the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything anymore. Not to get too off topic, but there was a lot of snubs this year.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of
Going on to the next game, though, Browns versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This surprised me. How the Bengals, I get not a lot of Browns players were playing, but still for a differential this big with a defense like the Browns, letting the Bengals score 31 points is, and then taking the win.
That defense is statistically amazing.
Right.
That's one of the best defenses in the NFL right now, and one of
top 3 defenses.
and probably top 2 defenses in the playoffs, statistically. And for them to let them drop 31 points on them, that was nuts.
Really impressive on the Bengals side, especially Jake Browning, 18 for 24, 156 yards and 3 touchdowns with 1 interception.
He's been out too.
What was that thing that you were saying earlier about like backups and backup season? Yeah.
My
Yeah,
only question is, what are you gonna do with him? Because
yes, yes.
this is a starting caliber quarterback that you have as a backup for Joe Burrow. Are you gonna what are you gonna do with him? Are you gonna trade him and get a pretty high second, maybe third round pick? Like, what are you gonna do with Jake Browning? Because he can't stay as a backup. A season like this, he cannot stay as a backup. Even
I don't
missing
know.
the playoffs, going 9-8 without Joe Burrow, it's
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. You can't be doing this.
Well, can we talk about this too? Because this is a point that I brought up a few weeks ago. I just kind of think like everybody kind of jumps the guns on these backups because one thing that nobody wants to talk about right now is that, yeah, they look good, don't get me wrong, but there hasn't been enough footage of these guys like, if say come into a next season with a Jake Browning or with a Gardner Minshew or with a backup who is starting now, and I guarantee you defensive coordinators are gonna have these guys locked, or at least not as good as they are, doing right now. I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying, let's be a little cautious about this whole starting backups thing.
My argument for that is the amount of backups that have been taken up. Obviously, the biggest example is Tom Brady. That's the biggest example of all time of backup coming up and doing one.
Right.
But even this, as relevant as last season, was Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
He stepped up and he was Mr. Irrelevant. He was the biggest backup of. He was like the backup. Below that is backup is the backup. That's Brock Purdy right there. And then he showed out. And
Yeah.
we do have to see if Jake Browning is that guy. Hopefully, in the next season, whether whatever to do with him, if he's going to go to a different team or test out free agency, even because let's say you are a team that is like having quarterback issues and didn't get a high enough draft pick to get a type caliber quarterback that you wanted. Get Jake Browning in free agency. Get him because he can at least serve you some hope, at least just some hope as he throws the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my take on that.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, overall, pretty entertaining on the Bengals side, but the Browns obviously rested their players up getting into this.
I think that shows you how much in control Joe Flacco has that offense right now, because for them to only put up 2 touchdowns, I mean, to me, that just speaks volumes to Joe Flacco's side, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't play. Jeff Driscoll played.
Yes.
Well, that's
but just
point.
his team mentality did
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So
no,
the
I'm
spirit
just saying,
of Joe
like,
Flacco.
Yeah. Well, not even so much like the spirit. I'm just saying, like, the difference between with them having Joe Flacco, like when Joe Flacco took his first start for the Browns, and like there were so many people that were like, "Oh, this is the end of the season. We're not going." And then for him to show out the way he did, obviously he wasn't playing in this game, but I think that should just go to more credit for Joe Flacco.
Agreed.
Exactly. Kicking off the next game, though, this was possibly Derrick Henry's last game as a Tennessee Titan, and went out with a bang. If I do say so. A bang.
Bang.
I don't know if you guys seen the speech he gave afterwards, but he was thanking everybody in the Tennessee Titans locker room, the headquarters crew, like everybody that he could think of off the top of his head. He was, pouring his heart out on there, and a good way for him to go to. In this game, he got 19 carries for 153 yards and 1 touchdown, and that is a pretty good stat line to leave your career at the team that drafted you.
I think so.
Ryan Tannehill started for this game because last week he got hurt, thrown for 17 out of 26 for 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, getting 168 yards. Pretty average thing from Ryan Tannehill. I still don't like Ryan Tannehill, though. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't like Ryan Tannehill because I don't know what it is. Trevor Lawrence out there also. This killed the Jacksonville Jaguars playoff hopes too. This eliminated them, as we were talking about earlier. Trevor Lawrence though throwing 29 out of 43, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I mean, overall, this was an offensive battle, but Tennessee just came out with the win at the end.
Yeah, I think after seeing Trevor Lawrence and the way he played in this game, I think if I'm Jags, I'm concerned. And
Oh,
We
could
can't.
you? Yeah, you're
We can't
kind
really
of
hear you right
muffled.
now.
oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go.
I think if I'm the Jags right now and I see how he played in this game, I think I'm concerned about Trevor Lawrence. And the reason I say that is because the turnovers and the failed attempts and going for it on fourth down twice and failing right there in the goal line, fourth down and you have a chance to get a touchdown. I don't know. It it I I would be concerned with the way he has finished his season.
At the very least,
If I'm
yeah,
being
I
honest,
agree with you.
Well, and
Because
think about this too. Earlier on, well, before the season started, I actually had the Jags as kind of like a playoff lock team. If you look at
yeah,
the roster, you look at the coach, I mean, this team has no excuses to not be in the playoffs. And when you like what you were saying, Snyder, like when you have that, uh come to one game and you cannot execute at a high level and beat Tennessee, there is an issue there. And I'm not quite yet on the Trevor Lawrence, train, so to speak, but um, I'm definitely edging in that direction because something's got to get done to make Jacksonville be all that they could be. They got a lot of
right.
potential, a lot of talent. They just got to figure it out, get it to work.
I think
yeah,
the
and
reason that I say I'm. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say because you guys point out his interception rate. His current touchdown interception rate was 21-14. 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions.
Yeah.
It's
I,
Looking
not
at
too
Josh Allen
crazy.
out there.
it's not the worst, but
With a team
if
like this, and
yeah,
especially stats don't say like, oh, missed opportunities to like this is a big game moment and you completely blew it. And you can see a lot of that throughout his career. But
yeah.
especially this season particularly.
My biggest head scratch with him was like the performances that he was able to put on in London. He had those back-to-back games in London, not playing on your home field, playing, you know, out of country, and was able to get 2 wins in London. And then it's like he comes back from that, and then that's when the slow descent started.
Right.
And it's a head scratcher to me because it's like, how do you sit there, prepare yourself to go overseas to play, you play 2 games back to back with no breaks, and then you come back and then that's when you decide that you're something there to me is just, I don't know if it's you know having a hard time adjusting to teams learning how you throw the ball and stuff, or if it's disconnect with coaches, or what the issue is. But there's definitely something there, like Cole said. So
Yeah, I
Well,
agree
yeah,
100%. So
real
I would
quick.
also be leaning.
Oh, what were you saying?
I would also be leaning towards. I would also be leaning towards Trevor. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence hate.
Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence secretly from London though. Is he secretly from London? He's getting a home field advantage.
He might be.
he's an agent. He's an undercover agent.
But Snyder, I wanted
but
to
your
ask
point,
you this
Paul.
question because to me, I think you'd have the better, insight out of all of us. Being in the situation that you are, um, what would drive a player in, more specifically, because you had to deal with Josh Allen at some times once he got that big, check and he kind of was off his game for a little bit.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence doesn't have that. What do you think kind of went off with him in his game to where everything just kind of flung off the rails like this?
Well, I think it's a couple of things, but if I could narrow one specifically, just from having the perspective that I do, and then seeing what I saw this year, I think it's pressure. I think he's putting an undue amount of pressure on himself, which is something that Josh Allen has done in the past. And then I think he definitely did that when he got his big franchise tag. Um, I I think he's just putting too much pressure on himself. I think Trevor Lawrence is going in every game with the mentality that he has to win every game. And to give credit to your points, both of you guys, there's too much talent on this team for you to have to put the entire team on your back.
Right.
So I think he's just putting a lot of undue pressure on himself. And I think the conversation needs to be had with him with his quarterback coach. Like, you need to stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Every game is not going to be the same. You're going to throw interceptions. It's going to happen. But how you deal with that and move on is the most important thing out of all of that. And
Nailed it.
I think it's just the pressure. I think he's put too much pressure on himself.
My point. That's what I've been thinking about ever since, like, his whole career. That's why I've been thinking that he doesn't have a good clutch factor. Is what I like to call it, when you can clutch up in good moments.
Yeah,
That's
right.
sort of
And see,
what
that's
I've
the
been thinking
biggest thing
about.
that Josh Allen does is he might have he might have a couple of bad plays, or he might have a couple of drives where they stall out, but he's able to show up in those big moments. He's got that clutch factor. So I think
totally agree with you there.
Like what you're saying, if he can just work on that, I think you'll see a huge difference in him this next season.
Hopefully he can get his act together. Going on to the next game though, Patriots. Possibly Bill Belichick's last game.
Are you sure
as
that's
a
Patriots and that's not the Browns? Oh no, it is the Patriots. Jeez.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Browns, but what a terrible showing from the New England Patriots, especially Bill Belichick's possibly last game as a Patriot. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. How do you let a quarterback that threw for 8 for 20, 70 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, score 17 points? How do you let that happen? I'm sorry, but how?
Yeah. I don't know.
It was all the rushing game. Breece Hall got 37 carries, 178 yards, 1 touchdown. And this isn't even this defense. They have good players, but it's not top 5 defense or anything. And not even score anything above a field goal is a complete. I don't even know why you guys left. Just stay on the bus. Honestly, just stay in the locker room at halftime. This is
right.
It was just a sad performance to see out of literally one of the best teams of all time less than 10 years ago.
Right.
It's sad to see a giant crumble the ball.
I don't think there's really much to dissect with this one. I think it just goes to show the issues that are going on in New England right now, and it's for the first time in a long time, I think the Patriots are going to need to dive deep into that rebuild book, so to speak. Might have to blow the dust off of that thing, get it cleaned up. Because it's time to bring that book out of the library and start reading, because this just shows that there's a lot of issues. Yep, there you go. Yep, blow that book off, get it dusted off.
So I want to make one last point before we move on here. All right, and this is going to correlate, so just give it a minute. Nick Saban retires at 7 national titles, right? Yeah, and Snyder, you called that. 1 at LSU, 6 at Alabama. Before the Jets came back to being a winning team, and before the U came back, and before Texas came back, and I had to. Okay, the Jets have taken forever to come back and be halfway relevant. Nick Saban did more in his tenure than the whole Jets franchise. I mean, come on.
Oh God.
I'm sorry. I had to do it. I had to
Man.
do it.
Bill Belichick going to Alabama.
Yeah, confirm it.
The passing of the torch to the next Nick Saban, Bill Belichick.
The most unlikely scenario.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
going on to a game with actual points scored. Falcons versus Saints. This was Arthur Smith's last game as an Atlanta Falcon head coach, and
Thankfully.
went out like he would. Bye. Now, the biggest story out of this game was obviously the last play. They were in victory formation, and it was a team decision. It was a team decision to have Jamal Williams running it. God, who's their quarterback? Who was the quarterback that did that?
That was
Jameis Winston.
Winston.
Jameis Winston. I love Jameis Winston. I love Jameis Winston so much.
His press conference afterward, or the locker room interview he did, and they brought this up. Oh God, he is.
I
so
love
funny,
Jameis
dude.
Winston.
He's so funny.
What's your guys' favorite Jameis Winston moment?
This one.
Probably this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know. I like the one where before the game he was like, "See, eating a W right there. That's eating a W."
I forgot about that.
Or before his LASIK eye surgery when he threw like 15.
Shut up, Cole. Just shut up.
Possibly
the
the
best part
2021
about this-
season
I think the best part about this whole situation is the fact that the coach told him to kneel the ball. And Jameis Winston's like, nah, I got it.
Nah.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Let's ride.
I mean, hey,
Beautiful.
you know I'm a Detroit fan, so the fact that this happened with Jamal Williams.
Wait, Pete, so you're a Detroit fan? I never knew.
Yeah, no, you guys don't know. Literally wearing a Detroit jacket right now. But, all right, enough of laughing about Jameis Winston. Such a good time. Going into the actual game though, Derek Carr lights it up. 22 out of 28, 264 yards and 4 touchdowns. I've never seen a much more inconsistent quarterback for a season than Derek Carr. Because the other, like, some weeks it's like he has 3 broken ribs and like 4 interceptions, and
Sounds like Drew Brees, just not Drew Brees.
He somehow has negative passing yards. I'm like, dude, what is happening?
Negative 17 yards.
And then he puts on a performance like this. I go, I don't know what to think of him anymore, dude. I don't.
The best part
know.
about it is his completion rates. Like, he'll go like 10 for 12. And he's got 15 yards.
What happened?
Now you see why I wanted him out of Vegas?
His completion percentage is 97%, though.
Yeah, so was Bo Nix. It's easy when you throw the check downs.
Every pass is behind the line of scrimmage.
Side to side passing, baby.
Side to side passing, baby.
This is horrible.
Oh, it's
Funny.
So good that it's bad.
Um,
Hey, you
Yeah,
can go
like, I
over
don't even-
It's like Washington and the Natty. Hey, you can throw over the middle, and they're like, go side to side? Okay.
Can I talk about this is the most Arthur Smith stat thing though? Bijan Robinson had 28 yards, no touchdowns. Oh, Drake London, they're like star wide receiver, 41 yards, 4 receptions.
Bat.
Kyle Pitts, 2 for
Kyle
27,
Pitts.
baby. Suck on that.
Let's go, baby. Broncos country, let's ride.
And I'm sorry for Arthur Smith to be like after the game to be like, yelling at the Saints head coach.
Saying,
I go,
dropping F-bombs.
what's
and
the
stuff.
point? I get it's like a whole respect thing and stuff like that, but it's like at this point, who cares? Who actually cares?
For
Have
real.
you guys
Same.
ever seen the meme where it's like Battle of Midway and they cut up the midway part to mid and it shows two mediocre teams? That's what this game was.
For real.
I don't even want to talk about this game anymore.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
bye-bye
Jamal.
Falcons. Congrats on not sucking anymore and getting rid of the worst head coach you have probably ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, congratulations to Jamal Williams. This was his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Yep.
That's so
After
how
last
does-
year, he
how
led
does
the
that
league.
work?
He led the league in rushing touchdowns in Detroit, and then went to the Saints and basically became a fullback because of injuries. It's
Yeah.
I love Jameis. I love Jameis Winston.
What's the old mantra? Next man up.
Next man up, that's right. SEC ball, baby.
Team decision right there.
Team decision.
I can't. Go on to the next game. Panthers Bucks. Horrible decision.
Oh no. Oh no.
I think this
Oh.
sums up the Panther season right here. This game right here just sums it right up, dude.
Oh my god.
You
Hell of
do
a
know
game,
the
hell of a game.
Panthers.
Three field goals. Let's go, baby.
So wait, hold on. Bring it in. We need the camera.
Bring it
Come in. Okay.
How do I?
So look at my. Oh,
Nope.
not you. Get out of here.
Yeah, bring it
Okay.
in.
So,
Okay, there we go.
so look
It's
at
been a
my.
while.
Look at my picture as I talk into your soul. But, like, seriously, Buccaneers, nobody takes you serious after this game. How did you beat the worst team in the NFL by 3 field goals? And then Panthers, you're on suspension for the rest of the year and probably all of next year. I don't want to see you take the field. You should be charged with murder to Bryce Young's early career, his rookie season. Okay, this is unacceptable. You fired a coach who literally had not a prayer. You could have had like the greatest coach ever coach this team, and they would still suck. Yeah, you guys are just a dumpster fire. Way to get rid of everybody for Bryce Young and then blame Bryce Young for it. So I'm done with y'all. Okay, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you next year. We're done.
I mean,
I just
what
need to
even
say that.
happened in this game? I think the highlight reel consists of like 2 minutes of field goals.
Yeah, the kicker.
Literally. I think the Panthers.
How?
I think the Panthers highlight reel was them trying to block 3 field goals.
Yeah,
Oh,
when Bryce Young wasn't dying in the pocket.
Baker Mayfield looks like Baker Mayfield. It's like, what? How?
I'm sorry,
couldn't
but
even-
when you have this team could have had like the best wide receiver core. You got Chris Godwin, K. Dotton, which is, he's decently good. You got Mike Evans, Rashid White, Trey Palmer. And this is what happened.
You can't score a single touchdown
against the worst team possibly of all time in the NFL.
In the NFL right now. I would say even the
of all time,
New England
I would
Patriots
say.
are better than them, and they have a way better defense too.
Yeah.
Like this was so sad.
Now, what would have made it even better is if the Panthers would have had a field goal and the score was 3-9.
Oh my god.
That would have made it just that much better.
All I can say is oh man, I can't even joke. I'm that mad. This is bad. Panthers,
This is funny.
figure it
This
out.
is high school football at its finest.
Trying to go through like all right, so you know what this means though, right? The Bucks face the Eagles in the playoffs. This is gonna be the worst coordinated game we will ever see in our lives.
I think so.
Most poorly coached team in the worlds face each other next week. Going to the next game. I don't want to cry anymore. Bears versus Packers. The
I
Bears
almost
suck.
fell off my chair.
Bears
My
suck.
chair broke.
Duh, Bears.
Bears, like, there was so much hype around this game on social
There
media
was
about
so much hype around this game for no reason.
This-
It's
no
the freaking
this is-
Bears, dude.
this
It's
is the
Justin
Bears
Fields
Super
playing
Bowl.
at his best.
Oh,
Justin Fields is our quarterback. Yeah, when?
till they get Caleb Williams and he does worse.
Yeah.
In-
Oh, God.
In all seriousness, no, we need to talk about Jordan Love and how good he's doing with this young
Amen,
Packers.
dude. That
team.
kid deserves a lot of. He deserves that spot 100%.
And the fact
100%.
that no one is talking about him either, like not a lot of analysts
don't
or
understand.
platforms are talking
understand.
about him.
I don't understand.
neither.
The progressions that he has shown is just unmatched by any rookie right now. Like any rookie quarterback, like
Well,
he's not a
CJ's
rookie quarterback, but like you know what I'm
he's
saying. Like
kind of a rookie.
I guess I say he's a rookie quarterback only because he didn't really get a chance. You know what I mean?
This is his first time being a starter. is what
Right.
I'll
That's
say.
what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying rookie. I mean, technically he's not a rookie, but to see the progressions that he made, I mean, and for somebody who's their first starting spot, he really didn't throw a whole lot of turnover. I've seen
Exactly.
way worse from
Actually, let's
guys that have been
see.
doing it a lot
Yeah.
longer than that.
32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. As like your first
that
time
is
starting.
really good. That's really
Yeah.
good.
So yeah, I give flowers to Jordan Love.
Well,
I hate
and
saying this as a Lions
also,
fan.
Let's talk about this Bears team real quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? Oh, God.
Go.
Oh, it
What is
sucks.
there to
I
talk
get it.
about?
Like, they had every chance to win this game, and they blew it. Like, possession after possession, after being down by one, after being down, or was it one? But I think there was a point they were down by one. Somebody can fact check. Yeah, they were down by one at one point, and then being down by one possession and having a chance, and then blowing it, and then getting another chance and blowing it. Like, this is Chicago personified. This game,
The Bears.
Yeah, this is the Bears game.
But don't worry, guys. They're going to get a new stadium, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, man. Caleb Williams can paint his fingernails orange and black or blue, whatever.
Yeah, when your fans are confused about what your colors are, that's how you know you're a poverty franchise. This is the most Bears game. This is the Bears game of all time.
Just like how, and this is so the funniest thing to me is like this is the same Bears franchise that in the 80s was unstoppable.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that they're so bad now.
The Bears has no relevance anymore at all.
No,
Exactly.
no,
Just that
and
one SNL skit.
And thank you to Justin Fields for making this possible.
Yeah.
Because without him, they would still be probably somewhat relevant. So
Yeah.
kudos, hats off to Justin Fields for making the Bears the most irrelevant team.
Can I talk about he got sacked 5 times for 31 yards?
That's
Like-
more yards than he completes.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh,
You see, all right, I'm not the biggest fan of Justin Fields. I'll say it. Like, he's literally Ohio State. I'd hate Ohio State. The Bears are Lions rivals. I don't like Justin Fields at all. But I can't say like he's horrible because he literally has nothing around him.
No, he has nothing.
His O-line
aside
is
from
like
DJ
feathers.
Moore.
His O-line is like Joe Burrow's O-line when he first came to the
Oh.
Except possibly worse. I would maybe. I have an
I
argument
think
for it.
I think you're right.
Like, you just might as well put like 5 pillows in front of Justin Fields. They might have a better job at blocking for him.
Put 5 pillows in front of them, and then put one really big pillow behind them.
Just put them in bubble wrap.
Just bounce right off of him.
Instead of saying get this man a contract, we just say get this man a bubble wrap suit.
All right, who's next, Jacob?
Broncos versus Raiders. Hey,
Broncos country, let's ride.
Let's right into the Allegheny.
Right into Raiders territory is what they did. Jared Stidham. Broncos, hey, do you know Russell Wilson, the guy who's doing really good for you? Do you regret benching him yet?
Oh, they will. They'll regret it when he's gone too.
Mm-hmm. Because
if I'm Russell Wilson, why would I want to stay on a team that's going to treat me like that?
Yeah, especially when you have like similar stats to Patrick Mahomes, and then they bench you.
Literally,
I want to bring this up because this is really important. Okay,
go on.
Jarrett Stidham, some Jarrett Stid baloney, or has that's your name at Auburn? Yeah, Stid baloney. Hey, I want to thank you because at every point in your career, you have always helped my 2 favorite teams, LSU and Oakland, or Vegas, whatever, beat you. Every time that you quarterback, my favorite team beats you. So, like, thank you. Keep it going. I hope every team that's not us signed you.
Can I just say, what a terrible game to bench your starting quarterback in a freaking rivalry game. Like, let's look past the Ravens and Steelers doing it, because the Ravens had a good reason for doing what they did. What was your thought process behind? Oh, wait, that's right. Your head coach is Sean Payton. I forgot. Go ahead. I don't need to say much more.
Can we also talk about Aiden O'Connell's getting his stance as I should be the starter for the Raiders next year?
Right.
Getting
I only called him
20 out of 30
in the class for a reason.
20 out of 31, 244 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Aiden O'Connell.
That kid showed a lot of potential, I think. And I think Cole is better suited to answer that question. But I personally think he showed a lot of potential.
Yeah, especially, hiring fashion model Jimmy Garoppolo was like, why?
Right.
Hey, now he can do his passion. He can be a runway boy.
Also, Zamir White for the Raiders too. 25 carries, 112 yards. I see a lot of potential in this Raiders team, especially if they keep that head coach that went with them.
They need to.
But we won't, because we'll throw it all at Vrabel like a bunch of idiots. Sorry.
You probably will. Probably will.
Hey, wait! Devontae Adams got a touchdown. The Raiders are good.
The Raiders are back.
Snyder. There's a continuous joke on here that you ever see Devontae Adams smile?
I don't think I have.
You only see him smile after they win a game in the locker room. That's the only time. So we say like the Raiders, like just stance in the NFL is depicted on Devontae Adams' emotions. That's an ongoing joke right now.
He embodies the Raiders fan base.
He is.
They never smile until after the game.
It's so. I only see him smile after a game, and then back then
I've never seen him smile on the field. I don't think
it's so
ever.
Funny. Overall in this game, Broncos, Sean Payton was not what people thought. Sean Payton was like their saving grace. No. Russell Wilson was, and then you betrayed him for some reason. I hope he gets released and goes back to Seattle.
I think, and it was kind of alluded to towards the end of the season, but there was definitely a strong disconnect between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, and I think it showed more towards the end of the season. Although I think it was there, I just don't think any of us saw it. It wasn't as publicized as it was towards the end of the season. I think my biggest issue with Sean Payton is that if it's not his way, it's nobody's way. And I think he
Right.
needs to get away from that because if you're a head coach, you need to put the best players in that position. Like you need to put all
Exactly.
your ego aside, and I think that's the dude's biggest problem. He's just a big ego guy, and this is no place for a head coach to have an ego, in my opinion. You can
I
be
100%, I
outspoken.
100% agree.
You can be outspoken, and you can be very strong headed, but like to be an ego guy, you won't last long.
Well, and here's the thing too. Sean Payton reminds me a lot of a gentleman by the name of Les Miles. Now, some of you might not know who that is. It's an older name. He was a former Oklahoma State and LSU head coach. So that's why I know him very unfortunately. We'll get to that. So they both won one championship. He won one college at LSU. Peyton wins one at the Saints. Aside from that, they always have good records. For Les, it was like 9-3, 8-4, 10-3, sometimes bowl loss. For Peyton, 8-9, sometimes sneaking into the playoffs, having a good regular season, losing when it matters. And that's why these two remind me of each other. And it's like, that's fine if you want to be just competitive. But if you want to be an elite team, you're going to need a coach with an elite mindset. And I really don't think that's Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
could
I
not have said
completely.
it better.
Nope. Definitely.
Going to the next game though. If Chooch were here now, ooh. If all right, one they didn't. So Eagles didn't bench their players because they were already in the playoffs. No, they had all their players. They had all their players out there. Still lost to the Giants by 17 points. Just, well, Eagles, you were like hot. You were like hot at the beginning of
Yeah.
the season. You were like what 10-1. Where did it all go wrong?
10-1. Where did it all go wrong? It went all wrong after the Bills game. That's when it. No, I'm serious. That's when their season started to fall apart.
I accept this
It
as
went into
canon.
Buffalo comes into Philadelphia. Very close game. Closer than I think they wanted it. And after that game, that's when you start to see that season fall apart. I think.
I agree. I think that's when it all
I
started breaking
don't.
loose too.
I don't know what the problem is. I think it's their head coach. I think he gets very caught up in the media side of things. I think he gets caught up in this attitude that he has that everyone else that's not an Eagles fan or player is just subpar. And I think he's just sometimes he has moments of stupidness.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying he's stupid. I'm just saying there's certain things that he calls and certain things that he does that and says that's just like, what are you talking about? Like, what?
Well, it kind of reminds me too, like let's backtrack the clock here to Mike Tomlin a few years ago when he played the Browns in the playoffs and the wild cards. And that whole team was arrogant, and that whole team, well, majority of that team at least, maybe not, maybe there's some good guys I don't really fully remember, but Chase Claypool had a lot to say. I think Tomlin was like, yeah, we're playing the nameless brown faces or something like that. And they got absolutely smacked by Cleveland in that game. So, I think the arrogance of Philly, like you were saying, that could be the driving factor of why they're, not being who they are, why they're, when you start focusing on everybody else, you're not focusing on yourself. You're not doing the
Mhm.
little things. You're not improving. And I think that's what happens, even in our own lives. Like, sometimes you think your way is so much better than somebody else's that you stop doing what made your way so successful. And it reflects people, it reflects teams, it reflects any sports. You got to stay rooted in what is making you successful. And right now, I think Philly has completely lost sight and maybe even given in to the hype. Because remember, the hype of this team, especially coming out of the draft, was like, hey, this team should win the Super Bowl. They got all these talented guys, N'Kobe Dean and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, and like, hey, they're gonna kill teams, and they were, and not anymore though.
Nope. And yeah, even though they got away with a win against Buffalo, there was still signs of them almost giving it up.
Right.
They almost lost that game. So I think if I'm them, I do a complete refocus. I get refocused on the mission, and I take a mindset of one game at a time, 1 week at a time.
Exactly.
And that's how it has to be from here on out. If you want a chance at beating, there's a lot of stacked teams in this playoffs. So if I'm them, I'm refocusing.
I love that.
You guys took all my thunder. You two just completely covered the Eagles situation.
This game told us more about the Eagles than it did the Giants.
Yes.
Completely.
100%. 100%. Missed opportunities. A terrible performance by Jalen Hurts. I mean, just all around, just piss poor play. Then they pull their starting center out, which, okay, if you're going to pull him out, why even let him in the first place?
Exactly.
That made no sense.
That's easily like the best center of all time, and you pull him
literally
out
and he's still got years left. Like, it's at this point in his career, it's literally up to him when he wants to stop, because he can still play. He can still play. So, I mean, to me, that decision should have been made prior to the game, in my opinion.
It does leave, because I'm a Jason Kelce fan. I love Jason Kelce. So I don't think there's a person that hates him.
You could see his frustration.
Yeah. And it leaves a sour taste in my mouth thinking that this could be his last season.
I think it left a sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah.
I really do. I really think
I'm saying as a fan base, as personal fans of him, like the best center of all time, and this is his last season, is just, it leaves a
possibly
really bad
is going to end in some bull crap because your head coach's ego is so big. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we should go on to the next game. Honestly, we covered all grounds. Going to the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Seahawks won this game by 1 point against the Cardinals.
Crazy.
Geno Smith.
Point. That's the pizza I'm gonna kill you stare.
Yeah, wait, hold on. You say anything like that again.
Oh my god, that was a weapon. He brandished a weapon in a podcast.
Oh, we're gonna get
just got canceled.
Yep.
We just got canceled.
People show guns on YouTube. I do not care. Anyway.
Every liberal just melted. Every liberal just melted.
Going to the game, Geno Smith did pretty well, going 16 out of 28, 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyler Murray is blowing expectations away. And I know they lost, but with how he's doing this season, I thought Kyler Murray was he's a whatever guy. He's more worried about Call of Duty than, his actual playbook. But getting 22 out of 30, 262 yards and 1 touchdown, I was convinced, oh yeah, Arizona's going to draft a quarterback next season. I think they should give up on Kyler Murray. I don't think that's the case anymore.
I see your point. I definitely agree that he showed signs of, Kyler Murray finally focusing on what needs to be done and making good calls, good decisions when it counted. But unfortunately, and again, this is just my opinion, I don't have anything to really back this up. I think it's a little too late.
Yeah.
The inconsistency and the injury prone that we've seen from him is just, it's too much of a what if, I feel personally, for this team. And I think if you're general manager, head coach, it's like I said, I think it's just a little too late to kind of solidify you as being the starter, or at least not having the team draft a quarterback. This is my opinion, but
I would give
that's
him
how
one more season because he was hurt most of the season. I'd give
I
him one more
I
season.
could agree. I could agree with that.
They're going to have a top 5 draft pick. Give him one more season. I'd maybe draft Marvin Harrison if he falls to my draft pick, and then spend the rest of my draft upgrading the O line and the defense. Maybe more defense than O line, but because if Arizona just has a smart draft and smart free agency, this team could be scary.
That's a very valid argument, I think.
Yeah, but can we also talk about James Conner? Oh my God, 27 carries for 150 yards and 1 touchdown, dude.
Yeah.
James Conner is him. He's Timothy. He's Timothy Chalamet right now.
Yeah, I mean, James Conner had a really solid game. He's been, really finding his niche back in Arizona, kind of returning back to the form we saw at the Steelers. Um, I just these two teams, they really make me question, because it's like, the Cardinals are awful this year. They had a terrible year. Seahawks, they could have been better, but they kind of fizzled out to being what I thought at least they would be. Um, what is it going forward? Because, if I'm Seattle, the one big takeaway I take from this game, 0 sacks
Yeah,
on Geno Smith. And your quarterback hits 0 as well. Like, he was protected. So to me, that shows, hey, we got an O-line that's sustainable. We got Kenneth Walker, who's a really good running back, and Zach Charbonnet too. If we could get an elite level quarterback to play here, this could be a championship winning team. And I'm not, just saying that to say it. Like, if they could definitely, if they get the right guy, watch out for this team. And if, for Arizona's case, it's like, you gotta get no line, and you gotta get better defensive players who can help out, because you already got young guns like, BJ Ojolari, for example, who is tearing it up, but you gotta get him some help in terms of
Yep.
penetrating to the quarterback, and just a little bit better coverage wise too. But yeah, I think this was a very good game for both teams, and it showed a lot of potential heading into next season.
For sure.
Who's
100%.
next on the list there, Pizza?
We have. Oh, by the way, this was Pete Carroll's last game as a head coach. So glad to see he won
R.I.P.
his last game as a head coach. What?
Yeah, rest in peace to his coaching career. Come on.
Yeah. All right. Next game, we got Chargers versus Chiefs.
Yikes.
I get
Yikes.
so depressed every time I talk about the Chargers. I thought it'd be better when
Fizzling
they
out.
fired.
Talked about a fizzling out. They got stomped out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just gets more depressing the more and
I
more we
don't
talk
know.
about it.
This is one of those teams, one of the few teams in the NFL that I honestly don't have an answer for.
Poor coaching.
You can always go to poor coaching. I think that's a main contributing factor in a lot of these teams this year. But there's no real path to take other than, I guess, the head coach spot. I don't know where you even begin with this team, because other than the fact that your quarterback gets hurt and I just don't understand. There was so much positivity for this team. There was so much potential for this team, and it's like every single time that this team starts to click, they get screwed. They're almost like the Bengals, because the Bengals do the same thing. You have 2 seasons, 3 seasons of nothing but success, and then it's just like every season after that, it's just ups and downs the whole entire year, and
Back and forth.
it's so hard to narrow in a focal point for this team as to like what you need to do. It's keep your quarterback healthy, I guess. I don't know.
Keep anyone healthy. A lot of that team is injured. You got Joey Bosa out. You got Derwin. I think Derwin James was out for a little bit too.
The only glimmer of hope I could see, or any sort of positive thing to focus on, is the fact that even with Joey Bosa out, your starting quarterback out, you still only lost by a point to a Super Bowl contending team. So I, in my opinion, I mean, it was a good showing of how you're able to compete, but again, it's so disappointing. So disappointing. The Chiefs are so beatable this year too. That's tough.
Everybody feels that.
It's tough. I feel bad for them. I really do. Because they're a team to like. You know what I mean?
Right.
The Chargers, the 12 points, there was no touchdowns. It was only field goal.
Fork field goal.
So bad. So bad. So bad.
Also, shout out to my boy Michael P. Ryan. Loving it. I just wanted to say, hey, he finally got his chance. He got 76 yards. You know what? Keep showing out.
All right. Yeah, you want to know the only glimmer for hope? They're getting a new head coach and they have a franchise quarterback. That's the only glimmer of hope for like the next coming seasons.
Justin Herbert. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Pizza.
Yeah, because they're in the hole for money because they have to pay so many players. They have to play so many of their star players. So they're in the hole, and they're getting a new head coach.
Yeah,
and one of those was a really bad thing.
Yeah, Justin Herbert has he when he's on,
right,
and he's top caliber, top 5 quarterback, 100%. Am I a huge Justin Herbert fan? No, I'm not. But I'm not going to knock a guy if I think credit is deserved, you know. But he's got to stay healthy. That's the most important thing, and that's the most important thing for most quarterbacks in the league now, because so many quarterbacks get hurt in this day and age of just fast defenses and different schemes and stuff. A lot of quarterbacks, you're noticing a lot of quarterbacks are getting more and more hurt, and I think also it comes into play. We're in this lull right now in the NFL where there's not too many standout offensive lines. A lot of these offensive lines are scrapped together, rookie offensive linemen. So in this day and age, it is vital. It is damn near top concern for every team to keep your quarterback healthy.
Right.
It has to be the focal point of your team, because without your quarterback, especially if he's a franchise quarterback like Justin Herbert, he needs to be healthy in order for your team to perform.
Exactly. And you can't even blame him for losses because how many of the receivers drop the ball all the time too.
Yeah,
perfectly placed. Never mind.
It's sad. It's almost sad.
Yeah. It feels like he's just stuck there.
To your point too, Snyder, it's like I also think the culture of football needs to change, because especially fan bases, like from now on, there are some teams out there who deserve to be a little bit more quick, like Dallas, for example. It's like they got the talent to win it like every year realistically, and they don't. Like, if they're upset with their coach because they don't win it, that makes sense. But some of these teams who are like very far away from winning a Super Bowl and they get pissed off with their team because they're not there, it's like, we need to pump the brakes. We need to somewhat go back to those days to where coaches get in, they build their team, build not just 1 year or 2 years, build 3, 4, 5 years to get to that point to have an established O-line, established quarterback, established defense. And if we don't get back to that, we're just going to keep having the same problem of
Absolutely.
these rushed, pushed together O-lines that have no time. And it's not good for the game. It's not good for anybody. And it's a serious problem that has to be addressed.
And that's
But,
coming from a Raiders fan, by the way, too. It's coming
Yeah.
from
I don't know. I agree.
I agree too, 100%.
Yeah, it's just a sad showing from Los Angeles because the talent's there. Going to the next game, though, I actually watched this game. All right, I was at a bowling alley and I watched the missed PAT. I was like, "Oh, that's gonna bite them," and then look what happened.
Oh, no.
Look what happened. Oh
Look what they did,
no.
my boy.
Andy Dalton.
It's like
No.
no, Jake Moody, 49ers kicker, missed the PAT, and that's what lost
Yes.
them this game.
Yeah.
Rams are the best team in the league?
Oh
Obviously.
my goodness.
I don't know about all that.
No, but the Rams have done excellent this season. Like, considering what they were at last year, they've been excellent this season.
I think even considering what they were,
Matt Stafford is back.
Yeah.
It was Carson Wentz,
Matt
by the way.
Stafford's back. I know. I'm saying this, like, I'm not talking about this game. I'm talking about, like, the
Okay,
season in
I
general
was
for the
gonna
Rams.
say, buddy, what game were you watching?
Yeah, right. What
Yeah, I
game
know
did they have
Carson
at the
Wentz.
bowling alley?
They showed a
Carson
rerun.
Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold game of the year right here.
Yeah, game of the year. Okay.
USC versus North Dakota State.
Yeah.
Can I talk about Tutu Atwell got 1 reception for -4 yards? It's happening. My prediction from earlier, getting negative reception, getting negative receiving yards, it's happening.
I think the
Right
biggest standout for me in this game was Puka Nacua. I mean, what a hell of a freaking kid he is, huh?
Yes.
I mean, that kid is just insane.
He broke
Insane.
the
Even
the
Carson
the
Wentz.
game.
For Carson Wentz to be able to find him, because I think that's one thing that Carson Wentz has always really struggled with is just being accurate and being consistent, and he consistently targeted him in this game, and I think that says a lot about the kind of player he
got
is.
6 targets. He got the most targets out of all the receivers for the
Yes.
Rams.
I think that's a huge look into if I'm the coaching staff, right? If I'm the coaching staff and I'm the lead office, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, now, here's a quarterback who has statistically struggled with staying accurate, staying at one person. Carson Wentz doesn't usually throw to one person because most of the time he's making, either bad reads or he throws it to somebody, but they don't really get a whole lot of yards. And for me to see him continuously target this kid and this kid gets down the field and gouges for long distance plays, I think that's a huge thing for me.
Yeah, especially with Puka Nacua. He broke if you didn't see it, he broke the rookie receiving record and rookie receptions.
Yes.
Rookie receiving yards record and rookie receiving catches record, which is just incredible to see from a 5th round pick, by the way.
For real.
5th round pick in Puka Nacua. He's been killing it all season.
That kid deserves, a decent contract. And the Rams have it. The Rams have.
Yeah, the Rams have the money, indeed.
For sure.
Overall takeaway: Jake Moody needs to be burned alive. No, I'm joking. But yeah, overall, really big. Just they weren't playing for anything. They're the number 1 seed for the NFC, but it still sucks to see them lose like this.
the Rams were playing for it. That's
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Going on to the next game though, Commanders versus the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowgirls.
Okay, wait, no. Hold on. We need to just listen. I'm gonna lightning
Bring
this
it in.
game. Okay,
Bring it in.
yeah,
Bring
bring
it
it
in.
in. Okay, look, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna be done with this game if that's cool with you guys. Because listen,
I'm good with it.
I'm
Send
fine.
it.
I don't want to talk about the Cowboys.
I'm gonna summarize this game in a very simple way. The Cowboys meet nobody. Nobody meet the Cowboys winning by 28. Okay? No, nothing else needs to be said. They play another nobody. They destroy another nobody. Then they're gonna play somebody in the playoffs and get absolutely railroaded. This is how this
49ers.
works. Yeah,
Oh,
49ers.
Sorry.
Nothing else.
They actually
Next
face the
game.
Packers. They actually face the Packers.
They face the
Which-
Packers first, but I'm just saying the 49ers are the kryptonite to the Dallas Cowgirls.
If you remember a couple years ago in
Last
the
two
playoffs,
playoffs.
Cowboys Packers, traumatic things happened to the Cowboys. I mean, all right, last game, Dolphins versus Bills. I knew you were.
That's all I got to say.
Hey, I'm cool with that.
For the words of Marv Levy, where else would you rather be than right here, right now?
Yeah, Josh Allen killed it. 360
Look at that
yards,
beautiful man.
2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
That's Superman. That's
Worst
Superman without a
quarterback
cape.
in history. No.
Yeah,
That's Superman without
can
a
we
cape.
stop calling Patrick Mahomes Superman? By the way, can start calling Josh Allen that?
Thank you. Oh my God,
'Cause-
you're my new favorite person. Literally,
I hate
other than Cole.
Patrick
Cole's
Mahomes
my-
rushes
Hey.
there. Oh, there's the cape. There's the cape. There's Superman. Superman goes. Shut up. Literally, look at the Bills logo. It has a red streak like Superman's cape. Come on now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, James Cook cooked a little bit. He stir fried it. I wouldn't say he cooked. He stir fried.
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Yeah.
Can I say I have a runner-up for best rookie running back in Devon Achane, and
I
for the
respect
Miami
that.
Dolphins though, because he's been
I
killing it a
respect
lot this season,
I respect
and
that.
it's he's just been a huge part in this Dolphins team. I know I'm
Well,
saying
look
when
at what
they
he was able
lose.
to do. I mean, you're talking about a team that didn't have Raheem Mostert. They had injuries, and A-Chain went off still. I mean, he was a problem for the first half of this game, and even into the second half, he was still getting first downs. So that kid's a stud. I mean, that was a great pickup on their part, and I think he's gonna be there for a long time. He's gonna have a very successful career. I think he's gonna break a lot of records. This game was not a sealed game. It's still the coach of the Dolphins, an extremely talented young guy, and just the things he's able to do with these guys is just incredible. I think if I had to look towards a downfall, I think what's going to end up screwing this team in the long run is injuries. Really, I think that's what it's going to come down. They got too many guys that are vital to how this offense runs injured, and Tyreek took a couple of really big hits in the second half, and I question how much he's able to perform next, in the playoffs.
Right.
So that's my only downside for the Dolphins is the fact that they have so many people injured.
All right,
Well,
and that is it for week 18. That took a long time to get through all those games, man. That
was my
long.
fault. It's my
no,
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 it's not. It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying there was a lot of games to cover. But
Yes.
this segment, so for the next segment, we had to scrap good, bad, and mez because there's no fantasy this week for us. So we're going to go into fantasy predictions for next season. This can be either a rookie or a person you think is going to perform really well next season, and just
I'll
who you
set
think
us
is going
up.
to do amazing. Yep. All
All right.
Sounds
So
good.
I got two people for next season. Here we go. Number one,
Here we go.
Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is
Mm.
going to be an elite rookie who's going to put up Lamar Jackson like numbers next year. Mark this down, bookmark this video, whatever you got to do, it's going to happen. And number two, I'm going off of a tweet of a very determined man, and that name is Brees Hall. This guy has said on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, or Instagram, it was one of the two, that hey, I'm gonna go off next year. Basically, I'm gonna be the. I think he said number one back, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can fact check that, but he is gonna be an elite playmaker for that Jets team, and he is gonna put up consistent numbers all next year. Those are my two guys that I'm telling you, if you get the chance, take them in fantasy. They're gonna dominate the fantasy landscape.
All right. Snyder, do you want to go next and leave me for last with this?
Yeah, we can do that if you're
Alright.
cool with it.
I'm fine.
I got 3.
Ooh.
2 of them on the same team. One of them's not. I'll start off with Dalton Kincaid. I'm telling you right now, if you know, when the draft comes for your fantasy team, and you know you got second, third round pick, nobody's taking him. Take him. He is gonna be a hell of a tight end. He had a hell of a season this year. I had him this year in my fantasy, and actually Cole knows this because we played against each other.
Many
And
times.
Dalton Kincaid got me a lot of points for a rookie. So I'm saying rookie. He won't be a rookie next year, but you need a tight end. I think you need to pick Dalton Kincaid. Second person on the same team in a different position, I'm going James Cook. He already had a monstrous year this year. I think they're going to rely on him a lot more next year, with Joe Brady basically being the Bills have almost basically locked it in that he will be the offensive coordinator for Buffalo next year. Yeah, I think he's going to utilize him a lot more next year. He kind of took over at a weird spot, so he didn't really get a whole lot of time to utilize him the way he wanted to. So I think next year he's going to be a pretty big focal point on that team. I'm going to finish mine off with Puka Nacua.
Hmm.
3 dominating.
Yeah, that's what I see.
All right.
So
Time to go to me for the last one. I have 2 players. One, I have Sam Laporta, tight end for Detroit.
Trash.
What? I mean, as far as like great rookie tight ends go, this guy's on the top of my list for 2023 season. Absolute like killed it in Detroit for tight end. And you know, he wasn't even like, you know, highly sought after in the draft. He wasn't, you know, anywhere near round 1 rankings. He found a way to be great in that Detroit system and that Detroit offense. Along with, you know, you got Jameson Williams, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. He still found a way to be like one of the top scorers on that team. So his sophomore season, it's going to look amazing.
those are solid.
Yeah. And for my second pick, it was really hard, but I'm going to go with the defense here. I'm going to go with the defense as a whole. I'm going to go the Ravens defense.
Ooh.
Oh, what a shocker.
I know.
What a
I know
shocker.
that it was like I know that they were great this year, but they're going to add more within this draft class to that defense because you know how the Ravens draft. Cole's mentioned this. They're going to get like they're projected to go 32nd in the draft. They're going to get like a ranked 14th guy in the draft at 32 in a defensive position. It's going to be stupendously good. And I know it's kind of weird to go after a defense, not as a whole player.
I like that. I think that's a good pick.
All right. And now it's time for our last segment of the day. It's a pretty long episode getting near 2 hours here. So I am going to present a tab on my computer, and it's going to be a draft simulator, and we like a predictor thing, and we are each going to take turns on who's going to win. So we're going to get Noah's prediction, we're going to get Cole's prediction, we're going to get my prediction. So who wants to go first?
Let's start with the guest here, Mr. Noah.
All right. We have to treat him right.
That's
so
right.
let's see, share screen.
Dude, when you get the number one analyst on your show, you gotta let him go first.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate that though, Cole.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right. That looks good. So as you see, these are the wild card rounds, and then whatever goes. Let's just start off. Bills versus Steelers.
How do you want me to? Okay, so you just want me to tell you who I think's going to win? That first one.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Bills, Steelers. I'm going. Obviously, I got to go Bills.
Man, what a shocker. Okay, let's take turns.
He was leaning anywhere on that?
Let's go AFC, then NFC, then AFC, then NFC. So
okay.
All right. Let's go Packers, Cowboys.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
All right. Before you say it,
Don't
you
cut the man
remember.
off of his picking.
I want you to remember the playoff history between these two teams.
Trust me, I'm keeping it in mind.
All right.
I'm gonna go with the upset, and I'm going with the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
All right.
I think Jordan Love goes off. I think he has a hell of a game. So.
All right.
Who we got?
Dolphins versus Chiefs.
Dolphins versus Chiefs. I'm gonna say Chiefs because I want to see Kansas City have to come to Buffalo.
Ooh, I like that.
Okay. All right. Rams versus the Lions. The return of Matt Stafford at Ford Field.
You know, man, they've had a hell of a season. They got screwed in a game. I'm going Lions.
All right, let's go. All right, now
Jacob likes you a little bit more.
Last game for the wild card round for the AFC: Browns versus Texans.
I think he gets all his credit that he's ever deserved, and I think Joe Flacco has a hell of a game. I'm going Browns.
Let's go.
Dude, he likes you even more now. You might be your favorite person.
All right, man. 5 and 4 seeds are always so hard for me to decide. So Eagles, Bucks.
Eagles, Bucks.
The worst coach game of all time.
Yes. However, I think everything comes to light. I think all the flaws with the team gets shown in this game, and I think the Bucks come out with a win.
Ooh,
all right.
Upset.
Major upset, man. Okay.
Major.
Browns, Ravens.
No question, Ravens.
All right, let's go.
You're going to be like his number one in his phone. He's going to have you on speed dial.
Man. All right, divisional playoff for NFC. Packers and 49ers.
Unfortunately, they're a hell of a team. They got an amazing defense. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go 49ers with that one.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Sorry, Jordan.
All right, Chiefs, Bills.
Come on, do I even have to explain myself on this?
Obviously, he's going.
We finally break the
Chiefs,
curse. We break the Kansas City curse. Bills by a million.
All right. Ooh, that'd be a great conference championship to see.
Right? See, I'm setting it up, baby.
All right, divisional playoffs for Bucks, Lions.
Give me them Lions.
Let's go. All right. Now, this will determine whether you stay on this podcast or
not. Well, looks like I'm getting kicked off because I'm going Bills.
You're getting a lifetime extension. Right. You pick the Bills.
All right. Bills are now Super Bowl locked. Lions, Niners.
So if that game does come to light and actually does happen, I think it's going to be a field goal that decides that game. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say somehow, some way, the Lions find a way to get that game. You heard it here
Wow.
first.
I'm shocked. Okay. Lions, Bills. Okay, so this is
Is this a question?
we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back and screenshot this and put this in the Discord, and this will be your prediction for the playoffs.
Okay.
Lions, Bills, Super Bowl. I don't
Bills
know
finally
why
get
I'm
a
asking
dub.
you.
Bills finally get a dub, baby.
Yeah.
All right. I like the animation they put here as well.
Hell yeah,
Winners.
dude. Hell yeah.
All right. That was pretty cool. All right. Cole, do you want to go last or do you want to go
Yeah,
next?
I'll go last. You go next.
Okay. So now this is mine. Okay. Easily. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay. All right. So
Going with the Bills.
for no, just hype around this game. Buffalo's going to destroy Pittsburgh. NFC taking the Packers between Packers and Cowboys. Because yeah.
Nice.
All right. AFC, I'm going to differ between you because I think that the Dolphins are going to destroy the Chiefs.
We're going fishing.
We're going
By the
fishing.
way, this game is going to be in -2-degree weather.
Yes.
Okay. Rams, Matt Stafford back at Ford Field. My grandma's going to go to this game. It's going to be really fun to see. I have to go the Lions though. That home field advantage, Ford Field's going to be booming loud. It's going to be insane. And then
It's like Haley's Comet.
You activated the Ravens doomsday scenario by picking the Browns.
I did.
Because Joe Flacco facing the Ravens. So I think it's going to turn out differently. I think something bad happens, and I think the Texans won't get this game.
Ooh.
Okay, Eagles, Buccaneers. Like, it's really hard because these teams have somewhat similar outlooks during like the last stretch of the season. You know, they were, except the Bucs were more on and off throughout the whole season. The Eagles just fell off a cliff. But I don't think it's the Eagles' year to make it deep. I think they're going to get first rounded by the Bucs.
Ooh.
Okay. Some angry Eagles fans in the comments.
I'm sorry, but the way you guys been playing, especially Jalen Hurts dislocating his finger, like it's. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
I did.
Okay,
it was disgusting.
Yeah. Man, Cole, didn't we see this a couple weeks ago in Week 17? Ravens Dolphins.
We did.
And did you see the monster like showmanship of Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? Like they put on a monstrosity of a team. So I'm going Ravens 100%. Divisional playoffs. 49ers. Not going to entertain this question.
Yeah,
49ers have a well put together team. And then here, Texans, Bills, baby. Now, Snyder,
no.
I'm sorry, Snyder. But I think something happens with the Bills. I think Stephon Diggs gets upset because he doesn't get thrown the ball or something like that.
Oh.
I'm going Bills.
You have the double head fake there.
He did too. He did a Josh Allen fake. He did a Josh Allen fake.
All right. And then divisional playoff time. Lions, Bucks. The Lions
obviously
are
the Bucks
doing so amazing. Nope. It's going to be Lions. All right. Here in the conference championship, whoever wins goes to the Super Bowl. Bills, Ravens. I think the Bills are a really good team. I think they have a great future ahead of them. But this Baltimore team is playing like no other team in the league right now. I have to go Baltimore. I know you. And listen, I'm sorry, Snyder, but you can respect it.
No, I don't disagree. So you can ask Cole and Coluccio. I leave my personal fan part out when I do podcasts like this, so I'm not upset.
Right. And then conference championship, Lions, Niners. Give me the Lions, baby.
Oh,
I'm activating the doomsday scenario for myself.
Yes, you are.
Baltimore Lions, great offense for the Lions, great offense and defense for the Ravens. But I'm going to go for the Baltimore Ravens, baby. Winning it all this year.
The only thing that I will say about the Bills-Ravens game is that we have beaten you all 3 times that we've played against you. So, I'm sorry. I just wanted to point that out.
Let that simmer. There we go. Okay. All right, Cole. Oh, wait. I forgot to change my thing on here.
Out of all the idiots,
well, it's supposed to be like
in
that,
all the
but
idiot
now
villages, you stand alone. No, I'm just
Now
Cole
for
playoff
the opinion,
predictions.
the opinion that we've been waiting for.
The
All
main
right.
event.
So let's kick it off the only way I know how. In a bloodbath, Buffalo destroying
Mm.
the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, that won't be a game. That just no. All right, then for the NFC side of things, I like Jordan Love. He's a nice guy. You know, he looks like the kind of guy who'll be like, "Yeah, I'll have her home at 9, Mister whatever her name is." But I'm gonna go with Dallas because I think
Ooh.
Dallas has a little bit more experience in the squad,
Ooh.
and they finally snapped the first round. Well, I shouldn't say snap. They won it before, but they get to that level again. All right, next one here. Kermit the Frog and Travis Kelsey are not getting back together, as Taylor
Ooh.
Swift would say. So yeah, give me the
Ooh.
Dolphins.
Ooh.
Dolphins, man. All right.
All right, next one here. Battle of Matthew Stafford. Who loves him more? Or however this weird thing goes, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Lions to win.
Yeah.
It's at Ford Field. I mean, how can you pick against that? All right, Browns and Texans. Look, I've been a Texans supporter all year. Like this team a lot. Think they're really good. Think they have a lot of potential in years to come. This year, no. This year, Cleveland gets it. Joe Flacco's on fire with this team. Yeah, give me them Browns.
Bucks, Eagles.
Eagles by a million. It's not close.
All right. All right.
All right. I mean, you know, look, I like the Dolphins. I like their explosive offense. But the Ravens are just too good at this point. There's no way they beat the Ravens.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this.
I was gonna say pizza is eating this up.
You see this? This is a W, baby.
So somebody better call the doctor in Philly because after this game, EDP 445 is gonna have a heart attack. 49ers win.
Ooh,
Win big.
man. You know, he should be in jail.
All right, now for this game. I mean, obviously, you gotta look at Joe Flacco and you gotta think, okay, what was he known for at Baltimore? And honestly, I don't even know why I asked this question. Bills are gonna win by a lot.
Hey.
Same conference championship as Snyder's.
Yes. All right, now Cowboys and Lions. Now, for some reason.
Oh no!
Oh no, boy!
Now, I really like the Lions. All right, they're a good team. They really are. But Dan Campbell has an addiction of just being the hardest coach ever and not necessarily the smartest. And that is where this game comes in contact, and the Cowboys upset the Lions.
That's tough.
Man. No, because you know what's going to happen? They're going to report, and the refs are going to say someone didn't report. I hate it, but I'm going to do it.
All right.
Taylor Decker reported, and you know he did.
Oh, he 100% did. 100%.
I'm talking to the audience. It was stupid. All right. back to this. Back to
All
this.
right. So Bills and Ravens, man, these are two great teams. And I'm not much of a dancer, but I think they call it the Buffalo Jive, right? Don't they? They say something like that. Well, I invented it. We're doing the Buffalo Jive. Bills.
All right.
Josh Allen gets it done with Joe Brady.
Superman.
Yes. All right, and then for this game, I mean, it's not a question. Niners always beat the Cowboys, and when it matters, give me the
Ooh, that's
Niners.
a tough Super Bowl.
9. Yeah, this would be really entertaining. I'd obviously punch a hole through every single wall in my house if this happened. If this scenario, yeah, if this happened.
Hey,
All right.
Jacob, I need your help with this one. Who
All right.
did I say a few weeks ago was going to win the Super Bowl? Do you remember?
Who was it, man? Was it the Niners?
No, I wasn't the Niners.
No, it wasn't the Niners. I think it was Buffalo. What you
Yeah,
said.
I said Buffalo back then, but I
Ooh,
really keep it now. I mean, it's the Niners. They got a really good defense. They got Christian McCaffrey. They got Brock Purdy. I mean, he's a quote unquote system quarterback. I mean, how do you beat that? But Buffalo's gonna beat it because it's the time for Buffalo to win a Super Bowl and break the curse. Josh Allen's the guy.
All right. 2 Buffalo winners, 1 Ravens winner. Now, you know how ironic it would be? Not ironic, but you know how horrible it would be if they get first rounded by the Steelers.
why did you have to speak that?
That
Why?
was gonna happen.
Ugh.
All right, let's save that. Okay. So that has been our playoff predictions for this. Man, that's pretty successful in my opinion. I could see any of those happening.
Yes.
But that will be it for the JCPS, I guess, JCPN. It was great to have you on the show, Noah.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate
Hey,
it.
it was an honor, man. Pleasure's all ours.
To end it, I hope you beautiful broken chairs have a great time. Have a wonderful. He just now noticed I call our fans beautiful broken chairs. He understands the joke, but I hope you guys have an amazing time watching the playoffs. This is Jay from JCP, and we're out.
God bless y'all.